Welcome! Tonight I'm going to show you how to make one of these acrylic pour trays right here. We are going to do the paint part of the process. This tray is a 3-step process, so tonight will be the first step, which is the main thing, is how to paint the design on your tray. If you guys haven't already tried one of these, this will be just kind of walking through the paint recipe, the process and everything, the mixing. If you have already done these and you just want to see this for more inspiration, awesome, welcome, I'm so glad you're here. If you also just want to see more like time-lapse quick demos of trays, I have a whole bunch of those on my channel, just every different color scheme you can think of. Tonight we're going to paint with blues, kind of ocean colors, kind of like the piece behind me, darks, lights in the middle. Some aqua, we're gonna try a new color shift, pastel green, it's kind of shimmery. We're gonna throw some gold in there. We're gonna have some dark and lights. I'm using up ocean colors that we used from a previous pour, as well as adding a couple new paints that I picked up over the weekend. So welcome, we're gonna learn how to make this tray. It's gonna be super fun. This is the most fun part of the process, and then at a later time, I will share with you the finishing steps. So for tonight, the main thing you just need is a tray and some paints. I got this tray over the weekend from Home Goods. They had an awesome selection. Sometimes it's hit or miss, but they did have a great selection. This one was only 20 bucks, which is very sturdy and solid, and it's even got the handles and, you know, a decorative accent. Yeah, it's not flimsy. I've ordered off Amazon before. Hate everything I've gotten off of there. Home Goods, I tend to just score on trays once in a while. So I got 7, not of this kind, but I got 7 different trays. So we did one last night. It was kind of a whitewashed, neutral palette. And it had some shimmery champagne in there and some rose gold. And after this video today, if you want to go and watch the creation of that one, I will put the link in the description. This one's going to be a little bit more explanatory for those of you who are wanting to make one of these yourself. So feel free, if you have these materials, follow along, or when you're ready to watch this replay, if you're not watching live, you're able to just kind of follow along in real time to make one of these of your own. So welcome again, I'm Anna, and this video is part of the July Transformation series. We're doing a painting every single day this month. Every day I'm live on YouTube, painting in real time for you guys, whether it, you know, works out or it's a flop. We are just doing it live, and so far we've made some really cool things. Mostly we've done acrylic pours, Dutch pours, flip cups. We did some alcohol ink stuff, and it's been super fun. So I've learned a lot, and I've also benefited from the accountability of hanging out with you guys, and also just learning how to keep showing up and not be a perfectionist. So it's been great for me, and I hope those of you who are doing the challenge as well are finding it fruitful for yourself. So welcome tonight. I'm really glad you're with me, especially if you're watching live, and also if you're watching the replay. So we've got our tray, and then we've got our paints. So I'm using this craft paint folk art color shift in pastel green. It looks more like an aqua to me. This one, metallic cobalt blue from Artist Loft, looks more like a turquoise to me. And that's actually kind of left over in here, along with some of this mermaid mica powder. I got it Michael's. It's beautiful. They have a lot of great colors there. We're gonna put in some of this 24 karat gold Deco art paint, and we're gonna mix that in with our leftover gold that we already have, if it needs some more thickness, which I think it does. This blue was another craft paint. It was, let me grab it. It was something like this. Deco Art Extreme Sheen Deep Sapphire. And then I'm using a midnight blue mixed up with aquamarine. Amsterdam Aquamarine. No, sorry. Amsterdam, let me grab it and I'll show you. Not, okay. Ultramarine, not aquamarine. Ultramarine, and I believe we used a carbon black for this. It was like a metallic black, and that's how we got it to just be this deep color. So yeah, a deep blue. And then the paint recipe for this is it's gonna be using paint, Floetrol, and distilled water. That's it. And the ratios are half paint, half Floetrol. Okay, so 1 part to 1 part. It's not exact, it doesn't have to be. I pour in some paint, I pour in about the same amount of Floetrol. Not a big deal. And then add the water slowly, little bit by little bit, until we get the right consistency. I'll show you that when we're mixing. I'm gonna bring you down here to the work surface and we will mix our paints. And feel free to chat with me, this is live. So if you wanna chat and ask questions back and forth, I welcome that. Hope everyone had a great day. I'm really pumped to be back in the studio painting. So give me a minute to set up my camera here. And it looks like you want to be a little higher up, so I'm gonna move you up here a little bit higher. So that way you can see everything. And then I'm gonna switch my camera around. I'm sorry about this. I gotta get my thing so you can see it better. Okay, here we go. There, now you can see everything quite well. Hopefully you can hear everything as well. Let me know if you can't. We're gonna start by prepping some Floetrol. So let's move our tray out of the way, that way we don't inevitably drip some paint on there as we're mixing. I keep a jar for the Floetrol, and what I'm gonna do is shake this up, and I'm gonna strain some into the jar because sometimes there's clumps. You know, if you've worked with it, there's clumps in it, and I really hate for that to get in our painting. We want it to be nice and smooth if possible. Just straining it through this kitchen strainer. It's a fine mesh. You could also use some cheesecloth for this, but it does take a long time to get through that. I'm just gonna fill up this whole jar so I have a bunch to work with this week, because we're gonna be doing a tray every day this week, I believe, since I have 7. The tray we did last night, again, I'll link that in the description. After tonight, you wanna go and watch that one. It was a warm neutral palette. We had champagne, rose gold, white, shimmer in there. And speaking of shimmer, I didn't have the Floetrol last night. I wasn't at my studio. So we used this Liquitex iridescent medium. I don't know if any of you have tried this. It actually worked really well. I liked it, and it made the paint shimmery, and it was very smooth. So I guess I might use it again tonight and just see. I'll probably use the Floetrol as well. I'm just rinsing out my strainer here before that stuff dries at all. This is acting as a pouring medium for us, paint conditioner, and it's gonna help it to flow smooth, I hope. I use this recipe for my trays all the time. It seems to work really well. Okay, so we've got all our ingredients ready. Now let's get our paints mixed to the right consistency. That is a little bit thicker than we do for our Dutch pours. So the flip cup pours, I like when the paint holds its shape a little bit more and doesn't just all run together into a muddy mess. So we make them a little thicker. And with the techniques I've experimented with, ring pours, I make the thickest of all of them. Dutch pour is the thinnest. Flip cup pour is kind of in the middle. Ring pour is the thickest as far as acrylic pouring. Let's put our new paint here into our little cup. You can use anything to mix your paints in. Plastic cups, yogurt containers, laundry soap things, baby food jars, whatever you've got. I do like the thick craft sticks for mixing. They tend to mix the paint up quicker than the thin ones. So that's kind of nice because you know if you acrylic pour, you spend quite a bit of time mixing. And I recommend putting on some music. I forgot to do that tonight. Shoot. Recommend putting on some music whenever you're going to do any artwork. And that's not just because it's fun to listen to music, but it also occupies the part of your brain that wants to kind of worry about what you're making. And it really, really does help you to just get into the creative flow for whatever reason. So find the music you like to listen to while you paint that helps you get into that flow. I'm excited to see what this, what's it called? Color shift. So it's supposed to kind of, you'd be able to see different colors in it. And I can see that here. I can see some pink, silver. It's actually really pretty. And I've used artist grade paints on these trays and craft paints, and they have worked both very well. The only thing that hasn't worked well is the really cheap craft paint, aka like Walmart apple barrel. That paint is crap in my experience. But this stuff it seemed to work fine. Folk art, deco art. So I love that you can get, affordable. You can try a bunch of different colors and experiment. So I'm just opening our paints. Went to Michael's over the weekend. Got a few things. Let's see how thick this is already. Actually it's kind of thick, but it's congealing at the bottom. So sorry for this paint, but we're not going to use this because that congealing paint will just kind of ruin our smoothness. That's okay. We use that for several paintings. We can let it go. I'm not going to mourn the loss of it. I always say the only wasted paint is paint that stays in the tube or the bottle, so don't lose sleep over it. It's just awesome that you're actually creating something. Okay, so we've got our 24 karat gold in here. It's kind of a pretty one. That'll go well with the blues. And now let's check consistencies and add our Floetrol. You can definitely see this is gonna need some. I'll add some more to this even though I know it already has some. And I'm hoping that we have enough paint here for that tray. Okay, so we're gonna mix the Floetrol in first. So you wanna mix your paint and your Floetrol together and then add your water in. So you've got about half and half. And it doesn't have to be exact. You can alter those and still end up with a good product, good finished product. Mixing that color shift. Also, one helpful thing to know is that the Floetrol makes the paint look a little bit more faded, kind of like, because it's white, but it dries transparent like glue does. So when it's wet, glue is white, but then it dries clear. So when your project dries, it will take on a richer hue than when it was just poured, which is kind of cool if you've used the Floetrol in it. Okay, this is very, very pretty. I love this. So hopefully we have enough room in there for our water. This is a very goopy one. Mixing our gold next. Once you've got all the materials you need for this project, it should take you not much more than an hour for the painting process. That's the cool thing. You kind of have your painting, you know, all done in an hour. And then of course the drying time, I wait a good 2 weeks before doing the top coat. And the top coat is resin. So I do some detailing. After the 2 weeks, I do some detailing with gold or silver leaf, which I can show you later on after this one's dry. And then I do a top coat of resin, and it is just gorgeous. So all in all, this whole project probably takes about 2 to 3 hours, depending how long you spend on the details and things like that. And it's spread over the course of 2 or 3 weeks. But the great thing about acrylic pouring is even while you're waiting those 2 weeks for that one painting, the next day you can pour another one. So in 2 weeks you can start having a painting ready every day for the next 2 weeks if you keep making something each day. Like we've done this month. We're painting every single day this month. So we've got a lot of paintings drying right now. Okay, those of you who are watching live right now, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Okay, this is very pretty. It was a mix of a couple leftover paints. So we have our turquoise in there, but we also have a little aqua, so it's kind of a light, I don't know what you would call this. Really pretty. So this tray is going to be kind of in the ocean theme. All right, we've mixed in our Floetrol. Now we're going to add the water and we're going to get this to the proper consistency. So this one is actually already pretty fluid. Remember, it was leftover paint. I'm not going to add any more water into this one. This one's fine. This one is also good enough, okay? Yep, that one's done. This one's very goopy, so we'll add water into that. Just do a little bit at a time so it doesn't totally separate the paint. Need some more. Just go little by little. So you can see with this one, the color looks definitely a little more chalky than what it's going to dry because it's got that white floral mixed in with it, which is gonna turn clear when it dries. So this will be a little deeper, richer color. And if you get into making these trays, you're just going to absolutely love it. It's so fun, relatively simple, and they are just the greatest gifts. You know, housewarming gifts or wedding gifts. They're really, really fun. So we're thinning out our aqua color shift. Love the colors. Oh, thank you. Is that Janice? I just barely caught that comment. Thank you, Janice. I love the colors too. I think blue is my favorite, and all of these kind of blue-green oceany stuff is right up my alley. And the fun thing about doing a tray every day this week is we'll get to try something new each day. So we'll try to branch out. This is a lot different from last night's color palette. Janice says she just started doing trays. It's a satisfying feeling. Great. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Have you done them on wood trays, Janice? And are you doing flip cup pours or a different technique? The flip cup pour is my most successful tray technique. I've tried some other acrylic pour stuff on trays, but this seems to end up being the smoothest one. Gives me good results more of the time. So that's what we're doing tonight, is a flip cup pour over this tray. You've done flip cup, a couple of them. Great, that's awesome. That is awesome. And then how are you finishing them, Janice? Have you put resin over the top or some kind of varnish? I have also had really good luck selling these at craft fairs and just doing commissions for them, because people like something they can use, you know? These are a lot easier for me to sell than my paintings, because paintings, you know, you have to have the right person in the right place in their home. And a tray is functional art, one of these trays. So it's beautiful, but it's also something you can use or give as a gift. It just makes it a little easier, I think, for people to purchase. So this has to liquefy a little bit more, but we're getting close. Okay, shoot, I missed what Janice said, and I'm not sure how to, oh, there we go. I can see it now. But you're gonna resin. You haven't finished them yet, but you're gonna resin. Awesome. Also, Janice, if you have, I don't know if you've thought about doing any detailing, but I have a video on how I do the gold leafing on top of the trays. I have one on my channel. I think it's called How to Apply Gold Leaf to an Acrylic Pour. And I love the look of the gold and silver leaf on the trays, so that's an option. And then too, I've done some that have a monogram in the middle. So if the couple who's getting married want, you know, her and his first initial with their last initial in the middle, something like that, you can do as well. But yeah, they're super fun. I'm glad you're getting into them. we're getting close. I'm adjusting the thickness a little bit. This one's so pretty. Oh, great, Janice. I'll be so happy to have you. Yeah, the gold leaf's fun. And then they also sell it in they sell it in silver leaf, like copper leaf. I think you can even get rose gold. And yeah, but it's so pretty. Yeah, and Janice, my email address is in the description of this video. If you want to send me pictures of your trays that you've done, I would absolutely love to see them. And don't fear any judgment or criticism from me. I'm just all encouragement. I'm so excited when other people make stuff, especially when they're like trying to learn it and start off and like being brave. So I would love to see if you want to email me. Okay, these are pretty good. My only concern is whether I have enough paint for the tray, but I think we'll be all right. If worst comes to worst, I've only had to do this once, but if worst comes to worst, great, Janice. If worst comes to worst, we will just mix up a little more paint and add another cup. So, but I think we'll be okay. All right, this is the fun part. Now we get to get our tray out again and layer this stuff in a cup. Actually, let's layer it in a cup first so we don't drip on our tray, because I usually end up doing that. So here you just get to kind of play with the layers and decide like, whoops, I think, this deep blue would look really nice next to the gold. That might kind of interact or mix a little bit when you pour it. So you can make your layering choices with that in mind. Colors are going to be interacting with each other. And I'm just pouring it down the side of the cup. There's not one way that you have to do this. You can swirl them around, you can just dirty pour it in there. As you make these, you can you experiment and then note, what you did and how it turned out, whether you like that effect. If you didn't, try something different next time. I think the best teacher for fluid art is experience. You can watch all the videos in the world, and I have watched all the videos and they're super helpful and I've learned so much. But until you actually start pouring the paint, trying the techniques yourself, it's really hard to plot it all out in your mind how it's gonna, work, how it's gonna achieve what you want. You have to work it out by trial and error. No experience, or no teacher like experience in this case. I'm saving just a little bit of paint in each cup at the end, because sometimes when we're done pouring this on, there will be areas that we want to fix or add to. That way we'll have a little bit of leftover paint with which to do that. But not too much, because we're not going to save these cups. And we want to have enough. I think we'll have just enough. last color, our gold. There we go. So the main time you spend is prepping stuff, but once it's actually time for the pouring, this is, you know, a little bit quick here. Here's our cup of paint. I'm gonna turn it this way so you can see it. How fun it looks in the cup. So pretty. Okay, we'll make sure I don't have paint all over my hands. Oops, I don't know why. Oh, shoot, I've got my mic off, so I'm sorry if you haven't been hearing me. Ooh, sorry about that. Okay, so we've got our tray now, and I didn't prep this yet. I'll show you what I usually do to prep the wood. Pretty simple. So all I do is I keep a little bit of sandpaper and a tack cloth, and usually I do this outside or in the garage because I don't want dust in my studio area. Stuff is drying and I don't want all that in there. But tonight we are just going to do this lightly inside and hope that there's not a big bunch of dust coming off this. So I just sand it lightly. This just it just makes the wood less slippery, you know, takes off any maybe like cutting board oil that might be on there, and just gives the paint a little bit more to grip onto. This is a 220. I don't know anything about sandpaper grits, so this is just what we had. I don't think it really matters the number too much. We're just roughing it up a little bit, but we're covering it with paint, so we're not going to see this surface later on. Okay, that's it. Pretty simple. This tack cloth is going to kind of get all of the little dust, like wood dust, off of there. And it does not leave any lint behind, so that's nice. Okay. I don't recommend cleaning your tray with alcohol. I used to do that until I figured out that alcohol loosens, it dissolves sticky stuff. And so if your tray is glued and you're going over it with the rubbing alcohol, you can damage the adherence of the glue, so the tray could crack a little bit, which has happened to me. So that's why I'm mentioning it out there, just so you don't have this beautiful tray and then it cracks and then you're sad. So that's done with the tack cloth. I am gonna take just the slightest bit of water on here. Just wanna go over and make sure there's not any more, dirt stuff coming up. The tack cloth did a pretty good job. I don't see anything coming up on there. So then we'll just make sure it's good and dry, because we're not letting this sit. We're painting on it right now. Okay, let's get our cup. Got it right here. This is the fun part. Something to have nearby is your torch. It's just a little culinary torch with butane fuel in it. If you haven't already been using one of these, it's very simple. They don't cost a lot, and you just refill it with the fuel. All you do is go outside, hold this upside down, press the little nozzle into the top, and I just hold it there for 5 seconds for this size. And I'm not sure if it's full at that point, but it always lasts for quite a while. And then you just want to wait a couple minutes or so before you use it. Make sure there's no vapors of fuel in the air that can explode into fire. Okay, and then just a side note, since I'm talking about torches, I always keep a fire extinguisher handy. Hopefully I never have to use it, but one time I did have a resin piece start smoking in my basement, so I always keep that handy, just to be safe. So the part that we've all been waiting for. Now we get to see if our paints work, if our design happens to work out. Usually it does something cool. Hopefully it will tonight, so we'll see. This looks like it's probably enough paint. I would like it to be a little bit higher on the cup, so we might have to stretch it a bit, but that should be okay. I think it'll be fine. Okay, so we're turning the tray over, turning it over on top of the cup, and we're gonna flip them both over. This is a heavy tray. This is actually kind of tricky for me to figure out here how I'm gonna turn this over with the one hand. Okay, here we go. Okay, that worked out fine. Make sure I'm not touching the tray with paint on my hands, which there definitely is. But you know, just wipe it up quick if you spill it on the wood somewhere you don't want it. As long as you get it before it dries, it's fine. And in case you do accidentally get a little paint on the wood and it's dry and you find it later, you can just sand that off, and then you can apply a little bit of wood oil, like a food grade cutting board oil, and it'll make that spot look just like new. So this is what I use on my cutting boards that I do resin work on, to add the luster back into the wood after you've, kind of torn it apart with sanding. All right, here we go. Now the fun part of the flip cup is taking up the cup, right? So thank you for being here. Those of you who are watching right now, I'm really excited that we get to share this fun moment together, okay? So let's just say a little prayer that it turns out and the design is really cool. All right, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. I'm gonna torch it quick. If you like cells, I recommend torching while the design is small, and then you get to watch those cells spread out as it gets bigger, which is fun. We've got a lot of cells going on in here, and I can tell that's from the metallic paints that we use. They always gratify you with some good cells. It's got a lot of air bubbles. This is so cool, guys. I'm doing a lot of torching. All right, I'm gonna let this cup drip out a little bit just so we use all our paint. And I'm gonna bring you down and show you what it looks like close up before we stretch it out. cool is that? Thank you for the thumbs up. 2 people, awesome. You guys rock. I would give this a thumbs up if I was watching too. I think the design is so cool. Look at that. It's like a river. Oh, I can't wait to see what happens when we spread it out. Thanks, Janice. Yeah, the thing that is so fun about acrylic pouring is seriously, it kind of does itself, you know? You can only take credit for so much, picking paints and putting them together, but it really does a lot of it itself. It's like such a surprise every time. I think that's what makes it so relaxing. Like, it's not all up to you as the artist, you know? It's not all up to you. You get to also enjoy the unfolding. Okay, I'm gonna put you back and we will spread this out. See what is gonna happen to it when it moves. I bet it'll look totally different from this. Okay, I hit the off button there for a second. Yeah, I bet it'll look totally different from this once it's spread out, but oh, I love the colors. It's just like Mermaid Lagoon. And the cups are always so pretty afterwards. It's like a little souvenir from the painting. Okay, let's tilt this. Just pop in air bubbles. And man, this is striking over here. I love this sapphire into the aqua. It's really cool. Okay. Yeah, I always conflict about which side to go to first. So I think we're gonna go over here first. Kind of flow the river forwards. And I just barely want to get it to the edge because I do not think it looks good when the paint rides up the edge of the tray. You just barely want it on the edge. If it goes up a smidge, that's okay because you're going to cover it with resin at the end and hopefully the resin is going to then cover that paint. But you don't really want the paint line to be above the resin. Okay, spreading out beautifully. And we'll kind of coax it along this way. Ooh, what does this remind you guys of? Ooh, wow, look at that. This is barely gonna cover this tray. I really hope it does, because I don't want to add anything. We will see. Let's see if we got enough. Okay, we're almost to that edge. And sometimes instead of tipping it to the edge, I hold it horizontal and just jiggle it back and forth. And that's a great way to get it to just kind of spread out rather than pour up the sides. Come on, it's almost there. Wow, it looks very nice. It looks very nice over here. Of course, it's not gonna look the same when it's all spread out, so we'll see. See what it looks like in the end. Okay, all right, we're good on one side there. Looking beautiful. I'm gonna go this side now. following along. Wow, this is going to be a pretty one, as long as we can get the whole thing covered with our paint. Okay, we barely touched the side. There we go. Bring it back a little bit. Let's keep going on. This is beautiful right here. I still love this. We're not going to keep that, you know, it's going to change as it goes over, but maybe it'll be even better. Keep a positive outlook. Okay. So I have this little gap in here, and I'm not going to move it all the way over to there yet. I'm going to kind of let that keep spreading out on its own a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to go this way now. Where did the purple come from? Man, did we put purple in this? I'm trying to think what that would have come from. It's pretty neat. Oh, this is just so beautiful. I'm nervous about not having enough paint. Okay, I've got to get this covered because I don't want to come back over here and it's not going by itself. So I've almost got it. You can use a little popsicle stick to shove it over there if you need to as well, but that's going to also mess with the design. So I kind of really like just jiggling it back and forth. Giving it a little time to settle in. It's just about done. Probably can't see that little part right there. Turn it this way. Color shift made purple most likely. Oh, Janice, you're so smart. You are right, because I remember we saw like a little bit of pink in there. So yeah, you're so right. That's strange how it did that. So interesting. It's almost like they separated because I can see the aqua and the purple next to each other. That's pretty neat. Did not know that would do that. That was my first time using the color shift. Pretty fun. Acrylic pouring never gets old because there's so many things you can try. You know, art in general, there's so many fun things you can try. Okay, this is just a dazzling color. I really wish we could keep that, but I'm thinking it's gonna fold itself under as we spread this. But we'll see. This is really cool too. And this part over here, I'm just in love with that. And this, I really like the line going on here. Those are the types of things I like to follow and find when I use gold leaf at the end. And kind of follow along with the natural flow of the board. There's different areas happening in this, but it all goes together well. Janice, you love color shifts. Have you been using them? I'm so excited. I'm so excited to discover them. I'm gonna have to get some more colors. Well, I did get one other one, which is kind of similar. It was Aqua Flash. I decided to use the lighter one in this piece, but yeah, now I'm gonna have to get all the colors. When you're in the paint aisle of the store, isn't it hard just to get like the one or two paints that maybe you need or you came for? It's like being in the candy store. You can't just choose one. You have to get like a whole bunch to try. Okay, so I'm just waiting for this and just slowly letting it stretch. It's gonna be close, but I think it can do it. I believe in this paint. I believe in it. I think it's gonna be close. It's gonna be a stretch, but I think it can do it. It's just so relaxing, isn't it? Just watching the paint flow. Therapeutic. Doing good. It's doing good. It's gonna make it. Oh yeah, we do have, remember we did save a little bit of paint in our cups. So before it's, I might just kind of swoosh into these gaps a little bit. Okay, it's gonna make it. Such beautiful colors, man. I think what we'll do is just pour our little leftover paints over here all into one cup, and I'm just gonna drizzle it along the edge there so we don't have to stress out our design too much. And what else? Oh yeah. just going to very carefully deposit a little ribbon of this along the edge. To add a little more paint into those open areas. Help it flow a little easier. And torch that. I'm also going to spritz just a little bit of this isopropyl on it to open up some cells, because we're that's not going to get as much movement over there. So try to add in a little bit of texture to it. See if we can get it to kind of blend with the other stuff. All right, this is almost covered. And I do love our color palette. It's so pretty. We're almost done. As soon as this is covered, we'll check if we want to change anything in the design. And then I'll show you close up what it looks like. I'm going to tilt it back this way just a little bit to kind of stretch out this part that we added in. See what happens with that. Well, it actually looks pretty cool. I think it added to the piece, if anything. Okay, my favorite area is definitely still this over here. And oh, what a neat little patch of bubbles. Okay, looking this over, I am fine leaving it as is. This would be the point where, let's say you're not really happy with the composition or the design, you might take some of your leftover paints here and just add a swirl here or there, you know. Also, I know that I'm gonna be going in with the gold leaf after this, and I'm also going to be able to work with the design that way too. So I think I'm going to leave this, and I will look close in here to make sure there's no hairs that have fallen in, or little fluffs. Okay, and then I'm gonna actually do a little bit more right here. Once it's poured, I'll babysit it for a while and keep torching it every few minutes and just kind of keep checking that nothing's falling in. And then when I'm happy with it, I'll cover it over and let it dry for a good, 1.5 to 2 weeks. All right, I'm gonna bring you close and show you the design close up. This is really, really fun. Okay. Lots of stuff to look at. Trying to get where there's not such a glare from the lights. If you guys like this, hit the thumbs up button. And subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. have lots of tray videos on my channel and lots of tutorials. Okay. All right, what do you think? I think I like the colors with the tray, the color of the tray and these dark handles. I think it works really well. I will try to come back on here live in a couple weeks. Of course, I'll be live every day this month, but this won't be ready to finish until 2 weeks from now. So it'll be August, I think, by that point, maybe. Or will it still be July? Anyway, it'll be end of July or early August. And at that point, I will show you the process for the gold leafing on this one as well. I'll try to do that, and the resining on the top. So thank you for joining me tonight. This was really fun to paint and really fun to paint live with you. So I appreciate that you joined me, and Janice, I appreciate all of the conversation we were able to have back and forth. Good luck on your trays, and I can't wait to see a picture of those. And yes, let's just keep on encouraging one another to keep making art, especially this month when we're trying to show up every day and make a painting. So yes, if you want to get in on the challenge, it's not too late. You can email me at the email address in the description, and I'll add you further reminders for this July Transformation Challenge. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you tomorrow for another live video.